Hey y'all, welcome to Sex Ed for You, the podcast where research meets reality.
I am Lauren, a certified holistic sexuality educator.
And I'm Holland, and I have a Bachelor of Science in Public Health.
Sex Ed for You's podcast is for people who want to date and have great sex that is fun and safe and enjoyable. We like to empower our listeners to make informed decisions that lead to values-based living.
Happy New Year. I just want to redo. I want a redo of all Christmas and New Year's.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. At least I had no clients.
Yeah, that's
We didn't
true.
have to reschedule a single solitary person.
We didn't, because we were like, Lauren's gonna rest.
spend time with her family.
Yeah.
It's going to be so great.
You did do that,
I
right?
did. I spent quality time with my family as we all fought the flu.
Yeah.
Together. It was very loving of us to all share. And it was like each of us fell at like, I don't know, it was like dominoes. So sad. So sad. But you know, it's okay.
We're here.
You're here.
How was Christmas? How are your holidays?
I'll go first because there's really nothing to say. My sickness came on strong Christmas Eve. And so by Christmas morning, my fever was 102. Trey's fever came on Christmas night as well, like around midnight. So he also woke up with a fever. And my sister's boyfriend's fever also started Christmas morning. So my sister was the only one fever-free on Christmas Day. So Christmas was just very sad. We all stayed on the couch and rocked and tried to take different combinations of pills. We watched things, I think, on television.
I think.
And then around noon, we were like, we should really rally. So we shared gifts. That was sweet. And then my kid came down from her dad's house at like 1, and we had her sit in a chair, and then we kind of like passed her gifts, and she opened them, and we all kind of stared straight ahead. And that was Christmas.
Wow.
Then my sister's fever started that night.
No.
And so then for the next 3 days, we sat on the couch and alternated Dayquil and NyQuil and broth, and it was really rough. And we all said, like, there's no one, we have cultivated like a really safe space with family. And so there was no, as I've been like journaling on it and rethinking, there was no overfunctioning. There was no like guilt tripping. There was no, like so many of the things many of us know are present at family gatherings. There was none of that. And I really need to take a minute to really acknowledge that, yes, it was bad, but there was no other badness. Like it was only bad because we were sick. We felt so safe together. We all played Wordle every day. We all played like all the different things and just laid there together and had permission to like go to our different places and take naps, to take baths whenever we needed to scrounge the fridge if one of us actually had an appetite. Like it felt very safe, like very safe just to be sick. And I don't think we could have said that if we were in a different place. Yeah. And Trey kept saying to them, like, oh my goodness, like, don't you just wish you were at home? And they live in Manhattan and their apartment is like this big. So they kept telling Trey, like, you don't understand. Like, it's so nice to be able to take a nap on the couch and then move to the bedroom and have space. There was one point that we were all in different spaces sleeping in our own way. Oh, I think it was a loving Christmas. We felt like well enough to laugh and play some games the night before we put them on the train to go back to New York. And it is what it is. And I have a lovely voice that's hanging over from all of this. And still working on getting my energy back. But you and I were saying before we turn on the cameras that it's like, I don't know, it's part of what we preach is that I'm fully enough and only enough. And there's grace and there's tenderness and there's gentleness, and I'll be better at some point. This was just, I haven't had the flu maybe a decade.
knocks you out. And you forget how badly it knocks you out.
Flu is really rough. Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason why there's flu shots.
Yeah.
Like,
It used to kill people. I think we forget that.
Yes,
Like,
influenza.
murdered people.
yes, it is. And I can see why. There was a point at which I was taking 2 different forms of painkiller and like fever reducer, and my fever was just still climbing.
Yeah.
And I thought, this isn't something you play with. Trey said that like my palms were on fire. Like my body felt like it was burning and I couldn't get warm. Like I was
Yeah.
doing that thing, like,
Yep.
please pile more blankets on
Yep.
top of me. So it's rough, and it's okay that my body has taken literally a week. It's been like 10 days at this point. And I have to be gentle because, or else, I don't know, we should throw me into tar and feathers because I preach that we should be gentle to ourselves. And obviously my body wanted to purge of like everything.
Yeah. We're not going to tar and feather you.
Yeah, thank you.
Because that would also be really poor form.
Yeah, really
So,
not in line with
yeah.
anything that we do either.
No,
Yeah,
it's okay.
All in all, wonderful, beautiful, precious. Not at all what I had imagined.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I had really wanted like some rest, some play, some fun. Nope.
Maybe we can do a redo in like a month. We can have sister and boyfriend come back
Yeah.
and just hang out for a weekend or something.
You and I will be up there. We'll get
That's
to see
true.
them at the end of January. And then she and my Christmas presents to her was a sister trip. So we did plan a weekend at the end of February to spend time together. So that I'm just viewing as
Good.
my Christmas.
Yeah.
So that was like my big investment this year. So it'll be fine.
It
was just really rough. But the audience really wants to know about your Christmas. My Christmas, I've worked really hard to only put people around me at the holidays that feel safe to my body because of the Christmas that I'm guessing we'll get to hear about from you. I had those for a really long time. So
Yeah.
let's talk about Holland's Christmas.
Holland's Christmas was long.
How many days were you
I was there
ultimately
for
home?
14 days.
Lord have
Or
mercy.
13, I guess, because I left on the 14th. So I arrived on Saturday the 16th and flew out on Saturday the 30th at 6 a.m. So I'm trying to think about where to begin. The first week was good. I worked. I did all my work. Got a lot done. Worked my ass off for the nonprofit that I work for because we had just so much to wrap out the year. So, I was doing a lot for them. I don't know. I don't feel like I did that much. I had wine with my my gran and her friends. That was fantabulous. I love them. They are like my spirit animals. They are fantastic. So doing that was really fun. So there is something that's super exciting that I'm going to be able to talk about later, but can't right now.
That was a beautiful part of Christmas.
Yeah, that was just absolutely fantastic and very fun and added a new angle to the holidays. So something to look forward to for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think of even it was such a blur that, or maybe I'm blacking it out. I have a very good selective memory.
Yes, you do.
I really, truly do. But it was fun. Had a lot of really good food, a lot of Tex-Mex. My mom cooked meals for me. I had taco casa. I had all of the foods that I love. I think by the end of week 1 was when I was like, oh my God, I want to go home. And the thing was, it's not because like anything terrible is happening. It's more so just like my body was just like, you're not supposed to be here. I mean, the whole time, I am not kidding. I was nauseous. I had headaches. I slept like shit. The whole time my body was like trying to eject me from the situation.
Yeah.
I was just not feeling well at all. Not sick, but just physically unwell.
Let's remember to come back to that, because let's talk about the wisdom of the body. And let's just relate it to any type of relationship or physical experience, sexual, non-sexual. Yeah, let's come back to that.
Yeah. It was for sure indicative.
Yeah.
I did have a wonderful facial. I went and got a facial done because I've been struggling with like my acne. And so my mom found somebody for me to go to, and she was fantastic. And I just got to.
I love a good facial.
Oh my God, it was
so
life-changing.
relaxing.
It was
oh my goodness.
beautiful. And then I got a new product out of that too, and that's been helping. And like my skin is clearer, so crushing it.
Yay.
That was amazing.
Wonderful.
And she did tell me, I was like, oh, I have all this hormonal acne. And she was like, no, that's stress acne. And I was like, oh, okay, so I guess I'll just stop. I guess I'll just not do that
I'll just
anymore.
not be stressed anymore.
Yeah, let me just stop.
Voila.
Because the acne makes it so much easier. So,
Yep.
But that was wonderful.
Yeah.
I went to Barnes & Noble and got a bunch of books, and I read my ass off this entire time. It was fantastic. Got a bunch of new books, and I blew through 4.
Wow.
Yeah. 4 of them.
There should be some like research done on like stress in the life versus the amount of books one reads, like to cope and to escape. But it's a beautiful coping tool.
Oh, for sure.
Truly, truly.
So, yeah, I think the biggest thing that impacted me and what I really noticed was how the gender roles in my family affect me. And I think I have began to acknowledge that probably about a year and a half ago. Like I knew that was something, but I had also been able to displace myself from it.
Yeah.
And so having such a wonderful, beautiful life here. Not that my life there, it wasn't beautiful. It was in its own way. But my life here, I pick and choose the people that influence me, are around me. And like the only gender roles, quote unquote, that I see are really you and Trey. And so like, that's not that y'all are perfect, but like y'all's dynamic is much different than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
I am not used to equal partnership at all. So being around that and seeing that health is like just so impactful to me. And then to go home and see the drastic difference in a marital relationship is just really difficult.
Can we pause? Can you, for the audience, describe what gender roles mean? Like for somebody who's not used to hearing terminology like this thrown around. Yeah. Can you break it down?
Yeah. Break it down now, y'all.
Listen,
We're delirious.
We're delirious. I'm warning you now.
Gender roles would be like, gosh, I guess just the traditional way you would expect a man or a woman to like act within a relationship.
Okay.
So especially in my context, this would be based off like biblical means.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
The man's the head of household, the woman, is submissive to him within the bedroom and outside the bedroom, and just like submissive is definitely like the term I would think of for women. And yeah, it's not just in actions, I think is what's hard for people to understand, is that the gender roles permeate into the way you speak about each other, to each other, the way you act with each other, the way you act in their absence, how you even perceive someone can be affected by the way your gender role is with them, or even just their role in your life, period.
Catchphrases that come to mind are like, boys will be boys. That would be a phrase that perpetuates gender roles. She was asking for it, perpetuates gender roles. Barefooted in the kitchen, gender role. A woman's place is in the home, gender role. There's a lot, even outside of religious orthodoxy, that, especially in this culture, and a lot of, when you think of gender roles, it's a lot of this like 1950s America type of thing too. The movie you showed me, Don't Worry, Darling, always comes to mind. This concept of just the man's job to provide, like the hunter-gatherer, the woman's job to keep the home.
Yeah.
And yes, I love what you said of, it is not just in actions and in behaviors, it is also in like mental control. And it is very, very, very heteronormative as well. Like there is just a lot of cis hetero patriarchy that we see woven throughout all of this. And
and you will never see anyone more adamant about the fact that they are not in a gender role than someone who is deep within the culture that brings it up and really enforces it.
No. I deeply was entrenched and did not believe that women should be in government and did not believe that women should teach or preach. And I would have told, like Betty Dodson says that often the matriarchy are the biggest upholders of the patriarchy.
Yeah.
And yes, I was that signed, sealed, and delivered. I really, truly thought that that was how the world functioned the best.
Yeah.
Was if I was in my place and my quote unquote future husband was in his place, or my father was the head of our family structure. And yes, thank you for bringing that up. I didn't think that I was being
No, you thought you were
persecuted.
empowering women in the proper way.
Yes.
It's truly a head game.
Yeah.
And you don't see it until it's like the blinds are lifted and your eyes are opened. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit.
Yes. And not just harming me, harming all the men in my life too, right? Like, I think that's what was so horrifying. Like, I had been a willing participant in this system that was not only harming me, harming every single woman around me and every single male-bodied person around me too.
Absolutely. So I think that was probably the biggest thing that affected me while I was there, because I am not used to that anymore. I have been put in a place or I have put myself.
You have chosen a place.
I have chosen to be in a place
Yep.
where that does not affect me anymore. And if it does, I get angry about it and I talk to the person and I say, hey, you are not allowed to speak to me that way. We don't do this, blah, blah, blah.
I've witnessed you feel yourself slipping into one, right? And be like, oh, this does not, right?
Yeah.
Something comes to mind of that time you cooked for someone.
Yeah.
And they sat in the other room while you did all of the labor, including cleanup.
Yeah.
Right? And in your soul, you were like, oh, this isn't going to fly. Right?
Yeah.
It didn't sit well with you.
Yeah.
Not because you don't like cooking. You love cooking.
Love
you
cooking,
love serving.
and I love cleaning.
Yeah. It's literally not what it's about. It's about this concept of there should be equal investment or, okay, in the next night, are you chilling on the couch while somebody cooks and cleans for you?
Yeah.
It is not that we shouldn't serve one another.
No.
It's just that there needs to be an egalitarian nature to
Exactly.
the types of relationships we're in.
For sure.
Regardless of gender or
Yeah.
someone's chosen, body. No.
So I wrote a lot of poems.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote a lot because it was the only way I could exert all this frustrated energy within me that I was like, it just felt like a bottle with the cap popping off every day. Like just every single day there was something that I was like, I can't. So almost every single one of these poems was started from a phrase that I heard. So the phrase is embedded in almost every poem, and it was like maybe once or twice a day I would hear one of my family members say something and I would be like, oh, wow. One of them was the Barbie movie. One of my family members said, I don't think the Barbie movie is like for men or something like that. I don't think the Barbie movie is made for men. And I said, why? And it was just such an odd conversation. I don't even remember most of it. I think I blacked it out. But I was just so distraught. I was like, it's not for kids. This is a movie that was made for adults that's about egalitarianism and being like equal with your partner and the way women have been perceived since the 60s and what Barbie was and now what it's become, and like how Barbie was the first woman to do all of these things, the first astronaut, the first this, that, and the other. Like she was the one who was telling young girls that they can be whatever they want to be, and you're saying that that's like worthless and meaningless. And it was just,
well, and how many movies are there out there like about G.I. Joe and about, like in essence, boy toys, Spider-Man, Batman, right? Like these are all toys as well. It just always makes me giggle when they're like, I just don't see the point of this movie. Like,
especially with my family, which is based off of comic books, essentially. I mean, like we literally.
do I think that any movie or any form of media, this podcast, anything is ever going to be completely conclusive and nuanced and get every angle? No, but I also don't think that's the responsibility of any given piece of media. It might be to start the conversation, to ask questions, right? I know it's what we want people to do with this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, this is not going to be all conclusive. No, things are going to change and evolve and grow. I was just reading a small interview with America Ferrera from the Barbie movie, and they said that, some people thought that the monologue that she gave was almost it simplified feminism too much. And she was like, listen, if you are a expert feminist, that might be kind of too entry level. But if you have never heard in a monologue some of the themes that are discussed, it might be a perfect 101 course.
Yeah.
We're not all entering into whatever given experience from the same vantage point with the same lenses. We're not. But movies, especially any art, and this is my nerdy background, are made to create discourse. They're made to show us something and to tell us something about something. We don't have to agree with every point, but we can get curious about, wow, is this truly the lived experience of someone? And sorry, but golly day, Christians and people who claim to be Christ followers, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think that was Jesus's whole premise, was this concept of, may I come sit with you and can you tell me more about your lived experience? And I felt like the film of Barbie, it was far from perfect. It's just it's a opportunity to walk in somebody else's shoes, primarily the shoes of people who played with Barbies growing up.
Yeah.
And then also have had a experience like so many of us who've lived in this culture and have been catcalled and have been objectified and have been made to feel like they are nothing but a body. It has a lot of great points.
It has so many wonderful ones.
The men that I know who are able to have conversations about it loved the fucking movie.
That's what bothered me.
Loved
I was
the movie.
I had so many friends back home.
Interesting. It was fascinating to me how you kept saying that.
Oh, yeah, this is home.
And I was like, home is going to make me cry. Here it comes. Yeah, home is 100% what we make of it and who we make of it. And you can't put a price on that.
No. And just the whole time I was there, I kept thinking, I just want to be home.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were talking about the when we were talking about the Barbie movie, I was saying I have so many guy friends back home who went and saw it 2-3 times because they loved it so much. And here I am sitting next to my father and my brother who are like, oh, it's not for me. I'm not supposed to see that. And I was like, I don't even have any words. Anyway, so that was one of the many things and one of the many ways that gender roles permeate my life back in Texas. So that was one of the many poems that I wrote. And it just honestly kept getting harder because once I got to the point where I was having to tune out conversations and withdrawing into myself and becoming this very quiet, very, very sad version of me, I just was so overwhelmed. I just wanted to invert. I could feel myself just getting smaller. And I haven't let myself do that in a long time. So it was weird. But I had to go to church. That was interesting. The first weekend, I went on time and everything. It was the day after I had gotten there. And we're Presbyterian, so you take communion every week. Most denominations don't take communion every week, but we do. So, and before communion, they always say, if you're not right with God, don't take communion. And in my head, I'm thinking, God ain't right with me, actually, to be honest with you. This isn't right with me.
He's got some explaining to do.
So I did a very well-timed bathroom break.
Good job.
And ran to the bathroom and sent you a voice message on my watch because I didn't have my phone.
Perfect.
So I was like, Lauren, I'm hiding in the bathroom.
It was so perfect.
And then I went back and just sat down and didn't do communion. And then the next week, it was Christmas Eve. And I didn't know we were going that day, honestly. Typically, when there's church on, like, a holiday, we don't go because we have so many family events to go to. Unbeknownst to me, we were going. So I had accidentally, like, overslept, and I needed to wash my hair. I had washed my hair the night before with, like, not washed it, but, like, put oils in it and done all these things because I'm, like, really going through a hair journey right now. So I had done all these oils and things the night before and slept with it in, like, a bonnet. And then my mom wakes me up at, like, 9:45, church is at 10, and she's like, okay, it's time to get ready for church. And I was like, okay, 1, didn't know we were going. 2, I need to wash my hair. So I cannot go like this. My hair is, like, literally, it was disgusting. Anyway, so I was like, y'all go. I'll take Bax's truck, I guess, and meet you there when I can. And I literally arrived at, like, I think 11. And church got out at 11:15. I sat down for, like, 15 minutes. And it was wonderful. Okay. And then, yeah, we went and we had Christmas. And we went to my mom's house. And I had already gotten all my books. And because Christmas Eve was on a Sunday, we did this wonderful thing of having football on the TV. So I sat in, like, amidst the men with my book. Perfect. Yeah. So I was just, like, hidden in the trenches.
Yeah, yeah.
And I could hear them talking about me, like, oh my God, where's Holland? And I was just like pretending to read, literally.
Good job. Yeah.
Just like, nope. Don't
need to engage.
Yeah. And so that's exactly what I did. And I skated right through. Good. Not a conversation to be had. Gave everybody a hug and then said, see you never.
Yeah.
Then we went to my other family member's house. We did that. That was all fine and dandy. I did on Christmas wear a tank top because I wanted everybody to see my tattoo. Okay. I was not hiding that shit.
Good job.
So I wore the tank top and it felt very empowering. A couple family members actually commented on it and were like, that's really pretty. I really like that. And I said, thank you.
The tattoo or the tank top?
The tattoo.
Oh,
so that was very wonderful.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we usually go to my mom's mom again. And instead, we're going to see my mom's dad that day. Because normally, we don't get to see him on Christmas. Okay. We just kind of made a switcherooski. And that Christmas Day, this is where everything goes to hell. So
I've been, like, bracing myself over here. Like, yeah, this was fine. It was fine until it was not fine.
There's so much lead up to this.
Yeah.
You don't even know the half of it.
Oh, God.
Is the fun part. I called you about the worst of it, but there was also more. My aunt, I guess, she's married to my uncle, brought Jell-O shots
to Christmas
Day, to Christmas lunch. I have never in my life seen something so wild. I took Jell-O shots with my grandmother on Christmas Day.
That's hilarious.
They were the strongest Jell-O shots I've ever had.
What alcohol does a jelly shot have in it? Jell-O shot?
She did a bunch of different ones. So there was like a Crown, there was a vodka, and there was a tequila one. I'll just say I got drunk as shit.
I'm sure.
Because I didn't expect them to be that strong. Normally Jell-O shots, it's like 1 cup water to 1 cup tequila or whatever liquor you're using. Apparently she had done 3 cups liquor to 1 cup water. I don't know how they solidified.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, is how did they become Jell-O-ish?
I don't know.
Were they slushy?
A little.
Or were they like
They were definitely Jell-O, but like slushy Jell-O. I don't know.
I think I've maybe done a single Jell-O shot in my entire life.
Well, I did like 6 that day. So.
Well, okay. This is giving more color to like the phone call I got later in the day too. Ha. Ha. That'll do it to you.
Yeah. And yeah, so that was interesting. And then we did presents and everything was fine. And then they went home and I went to sleep. Oh my God. I took like a 2-hour nap. And then we went and picked up my grandfather, my mom's dad, and he came for dinner. This is when the real chaos ensues. If you didn't think that was chaotic enough, just you wait. So, we're having Christmas dinner now. Everybody's sober.
You've slept off your alcohol.
We've all slept off the alcohol. We're all somewhat sober.
Okay.
That makes it worse, actually. So we're having Christmas dinner with my grandfather, who is very sweet. He had a stroke a few years ago, so he's lost a couple of his functions, but he's still just like an absolutely animated, wonderful human being. So he's sitting with my mom, and it's just me, my siblings, spouse also, and then like my parents and my grandfather. And we're all talking about random stuff, and my sister and my mom mentioned The Ultimatum, a Netflix show. Okay. And they're like, oh my gosh, I love The Ultimatum so much. Such a good show. Can't wait till they come out with more of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, have y'all ever seen The Queer Ultimatum? It's my favorite. I think it's so much better than the straight one. Like, it's so much more fun to watch. Completely just had forgotten my surroundings. Forgot who I was with.
Yeah, believe me, on the phone I wanted to be like, why did you do this? Yeah, because you just had forgotten.
Yes.
Which, that's the crazy thing about growing up and moving away to safe spaces.
Yeah.
You live in a space now where that would be totally normal to say.
Yeah.
Like, so normal. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And
so like, you blank for a moment as
I blanked as to like who I was around.
Well, and also when you're having like good, cozy conversation with people, I think it does lead the self to be like, oh, I could say something that I like.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So I throw that out and are all immediately like, oh my God, that's so gross. Like, I could never watch a show with gay people and like just blatant homophobia, essentially. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I tried to argue back a little bit. But also, when things like that start happening, I immediately recluse into my body. And I'm like, oh, unsafe. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of was like, please stop. I don't even remember what I said, but I tried to bite back like once. And immediately my dad was like, we get it. You're a leftist. And that's when I went to my room and called you. Because I like immediately was like, I just wanted to cry and I wanted to go home and I felt unsafe and my body was still in so much pain because I had been drunk earlier and I had a headache and I was just like, I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. Mm-mm. It was just so painful. So, went to my room, called Lauren, and I was just like crying my eyes out, trying to be quiet because I didn't want anybody to come find me at all because the last thing I wanted was one of them to try to comfort me. And I just like sat there and called you and said, help. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't want to go back out there.
I think it just breaks my heart because thank you for sharing. I think families around the country, probably the globe, probably injured their children in similar ways this year. Yeah. And I don't know. I just, as a parent, as a sex educator, we get like one go at it with our kids. And to make our children not want to come home to be with us, it literally like rips my heart into shreds. And okay, this is where research meets reality for a second. It breaks my heart, and I know why so many people are so uncomfortable. And that's because of their own lack of information and their own ignorance. And ignorance makes us uncomfortable. And when the only sex education we have gotten comes from moral perspectives, from churches, from places like this, where one type of behavior, heteronormativity, gets you into heaven, the other type of behavior gets you to hell, you don't even pause to consider all of the other things that you should know about. Instead, you just, are nervous and scared and say childlike shit that has a real potential to harm. Yeah. And so for any of our audience member that was harmed over the holidays, I want you to know that Holland and I see you and our hearts break for you. And then on the flip side, if you are a parent, so help us, get some information. It never hurts to even get more information. Yeah, my kiddo is in 8th grade, so in middle school. I am learning things all the time about different catchphrases for things, different the ways in which people are identifying, different terminology that is appropriate for her generation. It is, I understand that we like to know things, that we like to be sure of things, and that as we grow in this world, we get more and more embarrassed because the risk is so much greater. But there's people all over the world that had experiences like you over Christmas. And it just makes me so angry.
Yeah. It was enlightening.
Yeah.
It was honestly reassuring. As shitty as it was reassuring that I have done the right thing. That I was right in, not in a way of like, haha, I was right, but in a way of that I'm proud of myself for trusting my body, for trusting my intuition, for knowing that I was not meant to live in Texas, that I can do bigger and better things, and that I'm right in choosing who I surround myself with because I saw the way it affected me physically and emotionally.
Can we talk about that for a little second? Can you compare and contrast? How does your body feel? Because we talk about this all the time, right? And clients tease me that I'll be like, how does that feel in your body?
Yeah, that's our favorite phrase.
Yeah.
I ask people that all the time. I was saying that to my mom.
I think it's a good question to ask. But when we haven't paused to consider what feels good in our bodies and what feels poorly in our bodies, we don't even have kind of like a comparison.
Yeah.
And so could you, especially with such a clear picture, maybe compare and contrast for us how your body feels on the average here? We all have good days, bad days, sick days, menstrual days, all this kind of stuff. But like, what's your average functioning now that you're in a space that you've chosen that feels healthy to you? And then what were some of the felt experiences that you had going home?
Oh, so I think, gosh, it's so interesting for me to explain the way my body feels because I've always been very introspective to the way that my body feels. It's always been very connected to it. So I would say that I feel, when I'm here, I feel safe, which to me, it feels like anxiety levels are lower. Like I can feel the lower amount of adrenaline and cortisol. Like there's not as much tingling.
Ooh, yeah,
so that's
good.
what the feeling is. There is not as much like tingling in my hands and my veins. Like I can feel that I am just calmer. I don't feel as fight or flight. My body feels just safe, and I feel that I am capable and prepared for whatever comes my way.
Ooh.
So I feel that my tools are well adapted and prepared for whatever may come my way when I am here. Contrast to what I feel when I'm home, I constantly feel like I'm on the defense. I can feel like my heart pumping, my blood like in my veins. I can feel it, and like it's like sparkly, like like there's cortisol and there's adrenaline, and there's just like when someone says my name, it's almost like a spike, and I'm like, what can I do? Yeah, and it's not always that way. It's just mostly in like the big situations, but and yeah, I don't feel that way when I'm around my mom all the time. But there's just such a stark difference between the safety that I feel here versus the on the defense. Like my body just feels like I have to be ready for a fight all the time because I do. I just have to be ready to defend if I slip up and say, hey, have you watched The Queer Ultimatum? I have to be ready to defend if, Fox News is on in the morning at 8 a.m. I have to be ready to defend when people ask me why I can't just do what I'm doing here, there. Why am I not living in why am I not living in Texas? like I have to be ready to fight for myself. And it's in some ways, I guess, empowering because I'm like, I am fighting for me, but it's just like the stress of it happening for so long all the time is so painful.
I've been reading and listening to the holistic psychologist's new book, How to Be the Love You Seek. She talks so much about our families of origins. And if y'all are interested in a good New Year read, I highly, highly recommend it. I find myself giggling that I'm like, I wish I'd written this already. Like, I wish this was mine because it's so much of the things we teach at Sex Ed for You all the time. It's almost hilarious. Down to, she was just talking about the love languages, and I teach this to all of my clients that sure, we might have like a preferred love language, but that most likely the other love languages that we don't think matter to us are simply because at some point we developed a understanding that we weren't going to get that thing.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, well, I don't need physical touch. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, because you never got hugs as a child, right? And then she goes on to say, this is at like chapter 8, that when we demand that someone else only treat us with our love languages, A, we're not getting curious enough to learn more about them, but B, we're robbing ourselves of all these other languages of love, and we need to find this felt safety within ourselves.
Yeah.
But so this is to your point, right? Here, you are more and more developing an experience of felt safety. Yes. Your cortisol is lowered. Yes, your adrenaline is not coursing through your veins. And what she was describing, what Holland was describing when she's home, is this concept of being on high alert. It's literally like you're scanning the horizon, right? If you could think about being an animal that's terrified of being attacked, right? You're in this constant like state. Even if you are in the bushes with your family, right? With the loved one, you're still scanning. And to be in that constant state is exhausting too. Like it is literally taxing for the nervous system and for the gut. It's wild, y'all. The mind-gut connection, mind-blowing.
Oh, I was nauseous the whole time.
Yeah.
And like I take digestive enzymes, but even with the enzymes, I was just in pain and my head was hurting. I was just... The body was like, GTFO.
Yeah.
Please go home. Please go home. Because it was so weird. I was like, here, I've gotten to the point to where I can eat, like, I have some dairy intolerances and stuff, and, acid reflux, but all of that has really seceded. Like, it's really not been that bad anymore. I don't even
look at that.
I know. I don't even take really my digestive enzymes that much anymore. But then when I was there, I was like, oh, well, I don't really take my digestive enzymes that much anymore. So I ate a sandwich with a piece of cheese on it for lunch, and I was in pain for like 4 hours.
Y'all, you can call us woo-woo, okay? Or you can do your own research. Our bodies are so smart. And I am all here for digestive enzymes and all these things that we do to take care of ourselves. If there are ways that we can look at our surroundings and holistically and thoroughly change how we are existing in this world, it is wild, I tell you. Wild.
Yeah.
How our bodies, they want to heal. They literally, Peter Levine talks about this in Waking the Tiger. Our bodies are designed to heal themselves. They are trying. They want to. We just keep them from healing sometimes. And it is often our families of origins that are the ones who are keeping us from the best of healing. And I don't think that all of our families out there have ill intentions. I actually don't.
No.
I think they want what is best for us. It just sometimes takes us saying, GTFO. I am not doing this. In How to Be the Love You Seek, she keeps saying this, and we say this at Cephia all the time too. That individual healing is collective healing. That when we heal ourselves, when we put ourselves in such places, right, homes where we can attend to our needs, it is not a selfish act. It is the most selfless act, because then we do not make other people responsible for taking care of us.
Yeah.
We take care of us first and foremost. And it's, revolutionary.
It really is. I think the hardest part of that for me, though, is that as a very as a person on a healing journey, as a person who is taking care of myself and is in a space now where I feel safe and comfortable and happy and growth, when I go back into these situations, me being me, I'm like, okay, now it's my job to spread this. Like
spread the gospel.
Almost.
Okay.
Like I go in there and I'm like, I want my mom to see that this, and this is not okay in her life. That like she deserves better. And I want my sister to see that, these are really good methods of whatever holistic health and blah, blah, blah. So it's like I go in with all these aspirations of like, I am so happy because I've done so much work and so much joy and healing, and I want them to feel the same. And so I kind of put myself in the situation of just like vulnerable to attack because I'm trying so hard and it's just so against everything that they've ever believed, and it just doesn't work.
One of the best things that we learned in sex school was we can't change anybody's mind.
Yeah.
That, believe it or not, every teacher that's out there isn't really that phenomenal. They just either had students who came in ready to learn, ready to change their minds, looking for a different way of thinking, way of experiencing this world, or they didn't.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a blow to the ego, but really necessary. And yeah, really disheartening, right? To think that, it's not your job. It's not your job. And I think you can be an example, but even if they're not ready to see, and when I say they, I mean anyone in this world. They're not going to see, right? Instead, they're going to think, oh, you're just broken or right leftist or this or that. I think we all like to label.
Yeah.
We love a good label.
Yeah.
And but it is not, boy, do I want our audience to know this. Like we are not responsible for changing someone else's mind.
No.
We are not.
You can only give them the information. And even then, that's not your job.
Nope. People who are hungry to learn and grow and change do. People who are not, don't. And if there's anything I want anyone to take away from this episode, it's not yours. It's not yours to do. If people come to you and they are hungry to learn and asking you questions from a place of curiosity and genuine interest and like intrigue, answer away.
Yeah.
But God bless this idea of proselytizing and sharing the gospel. No.
Yeah.
No, it's why you'll forever see Sex Ed for You when someone comes into individual work with us, doing a needs assessment in the beginning, right? What do they need? What do they want, right? And then the education that we offer them will be specific upon those needs that they have shared, right? The pieces of knowledge they want to learn, the skills they want to gain, and the attitudes that they want to change. And then and only then, if our tools that Seffi has go along with the needs somebody else's has, great, let's work together. If not, there's really no point.
Yeah.
Like there's no point, right? Yeah. You could need a therapist. We'll refer you to a therapist. You could need some different form of education. Go.
Yeah.
The world, I really think, would just be a happier place. And no, it goes so far against like an evangelical mindset though.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, this concept of you going home. If you had gone for a shorter amount of time, do you think it would have been okay?
I mean, it was still okay.
Right, right. Better. I hate qualifying.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my body would have been able to tolerate it more if I had gone for less time. I don't know. So much of it was uncomfortable, but at the same time, like the first week I was there was great because I just got to spend time with my mom and work, and that was fine. It was like the week of Christmas was the hard times. So I don't know. I think next time I will be going for a much shorter amount of time just to protect myself, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I think there's something too, we haven't even mentioned this concept of going almost like going back to your childhood bedroom or going back, like into this role of like I'm under my parents' roof, right?
Yeah.
I need to respect their rules. There's some of that is
Yeah.
literally just the growing up life experience.
Yeah.
And I want to just be really clear that, somebody could have zero childhood trauma. Some people could have like their values be aligned with their home very well. And yet still that experience of going back is really hard. It's spiral dynamics would say it's a little bit of like spiraling down.
Yeah.
And then kind of try to fit in an old world. That's just really natural. That's the growth experience.
If I had the money, I would definitely stay in a hotel and get a rental car when I was there. And I think it would be a much better experience for literally everyone.
Yeah.
But it's just like not financially feasible for me.
Yeah, I do. I've heard so many people say that having a car of their own is a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe next time I will be able to do that. We'll see. But
yeah. Takeaways. Any like, I don't know, things you learned?
I guess it reaffirmed that my intuition is strong and good.
I like that.
I think I was able to see my own family and my own origins through a new lens, and that I have a new perspective on the way that it has affected me and my psyche. So, yeah, I think it's been an interesting psychological trip. And
all the puns intended.
Yeah. I learned a lot. I have new perspectives. And you know me, I always say new perspectives are really positive. So,
Yay. I'm really proud of you.
thanks.
I'm really proud of you. You did it. You really did it. Yeah. Anything you want to say in closing? Or you want to just do the wrap up?
I guess we'll just wrap up.
Wrap it up.
Let's see if I even remember this. It's been 3 weeks.
It has.
If you would like to schedule a free consult with Lauren, you can go to sexedforyou.com/free consult. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to me at admin@sexedforyou.com. Follow us on Instagram at sex_ed_fort_you. And go shop our merch.
Go shop our merch, y'all. It's really, really cute merch. Yeah. Happy New Year to everybody. And reminder, like we were saying about the Barbie movie, like we say it all the time, but we will keep saying it. This is like a slice. This is a moment. These are opinions. Go read things. Question us. Challenge us. Form your own opinions. We each have a right to self-determination, and it's really healthy for us if we view media that we intake as just one idea.
Yep. Take what you want, leave what you don't.
We love you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.